Good evening. I don't see much of life. When I say good evening, you're all youth, right? Sub 20, if I'm not mistaken. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I can't hear you still. I'll give a 1, 2, 3. Let's see whether you can rock this room with your good evening at least for once, right? 1, 2, 3.
Good evening, sir.
Good. There are times when the introduction is longer than the talk. Just wondering when I'm going to get the mic. I just wanted to start with a very small, interesting experiment because I am actually a mind magician. You believe or you don't believe? Normally this generation is very skeptical, right? I'm going to give you one mental work. And as you do, at the end, you're going to realize what I said is going to be true. I'm going to make you think in a way in which you will exactly hit the dot and you will see it at the end of this very short experiment. All ready? All of you can count up to 1 to 9? Surely? Okay, good. Think of any number between 1 to 9. Mentally, don't have to tell me outside. Okay? Whatever that number be, take that number, multiply it by 9. Okay, take that number, whatever comes. For example, say it is 34 or 62 or whatever. Add those two numbers till it becomes a single digit number. Mentally do this. And once you have that number, 1 stands for A, 2 stands for B, like that, take that number, think of an alphabet which matches that number in the sequence of 1, A to Z, whatever number comes. Done? Okay, now think of a country which starts with that alphabet that you had in your mind. Take the second alphabet of that country's name and think of an animal whose name begins with that alphabet. And bang on, all of you are thinking of Denmark and elephant, am I right? If your English is all right, most probably you would have got it right. Very, very rare that somebody goes to something else, but was it right or wrong? Or was it going too fast? Very rarely, normally I get Dominic Republic and Ostrich, but that's a very, very rare combination. Normally you fall for it. This is how, what we call as influencing the mind. Normally when you look at a subject like magic or hypnotism, as doctors, maybe you are skeptical of that, but hypnotism does work. One of the most accepted definition of hypnotism globally is a very, very simple term. It's called suggestion accepted. When I make a suggestion and then I make you to accept that suggestion, it's called that I have hypnotized you. Whether you raised your hand or not, in case you followed that arithmetic and the consequent English, you would have landed in Denmark and elephant because I led you there. So the world is all about leading you to where you should be headed. Unfortunately, 98% of the people in this world do what is known as a herd mentality. You have heard of it? That's called a word play. Herd mentality, H-E-R-D. What is a herd mentality? There is one shepherd in the front and then the entire sheep follows. He doesn't know where it's going. In all probability, it doesn't know. There is somebody leading. The world has less than 1% leaders, the rest 99% of the people just follow. When it becomes hysterical, it's called mob mentality. They destroy. You see it day in and day out. 2 weeks ago it was Bangladesh, last week it was Kolkata, God knows where it's headed. Which also means it gives us confidence that if something can be led to a negative side, to destruction, to self-sabotage, then it also means that it is something that can be used positively. If you take the Second World War, somewhere closer to the end, there was a big explosion in 2 cities of Japan. The first time an atom bomb was exploded to the general view of the public, causing immense damage. It took about 5 generations of Japanese to overcome financial, mental and physical disturbances. People are born with deformities. People had so many issues, and all that happened because of what? Was it because of the atom bomb? Yes or no? You all can talk, right? You all wished me good evening, so I know you can talk. Was it caused by the atom bomb? No. Yes or no? How many of you say yes? Just raise your hands. Only 3. How many of, so the rest are all no? Then tell me what caused the fatalities that you witnessed in Japan during the Second World War. It was because of one thought of the President of USA who sat there and said, I'll show to the world what I'm capable of. What is called as the ego of a person. Something that haunts us from the age of about 2.5. When you read initial anatomy and the stuff like that, I'm not a doctor, but I understand a bit of human psychology. You will see that at about 1.5, 2, when the concept of I-ness, I, till about the age of 1.5, 2, the child asks, the papa pasikkudu. The kid is hungry. It won't say, I am hungry. After the age of about 2.5, it says, I am hungry. Feed me. And from there till death, it's a fight. My ego becomes the biggest enemy and the biggest friend of me if I know what it really means. If you look at the topic what they have put out there, all-round success in life. Anybody here in this room who doesn't want to be successful? Anyone? All of you want to be successful? All those who want to be successful, raise your hands. Still 4 people have some doubts, I think. Maybe they haven't heard it or they don't understand the question. Everyone wants to be successful. Success has its own definitions. And I have read several definitions of success, but there is one definition of success which I always share, specifically when I meet students. I have till now interacted in the last 30-40 years of my career in interacting with public and students and corporates, between 4 to 4.5 million students, either in person or through sessions or talks or lectures or classroom sessions and stuff like that. One thing I always share with them, success is all about what you want it to be, which means you need to define what for you success means. Please ever never borrow the definition of success from somebody else's books. Fortunately or unfortunately, what happens in this world is that all those around us, apparently in a good faith, want us to live a life which they fail to live. For example, your parents. They want you to be this, they want you to be that, they want you to be a pharmacist, they want you to start an industry, they want you to become a doctor, whatever, because they could not do it themselves. The other option is maybe they did it and they want you to follow suit. I am a successful lawyer. Lawyer is the only profession in which you can make money. I think if I am not mistaken, as of now, there is no GST on legal service. And once the former finance minister went on record saying apparently they don't offer any service so they cannot be charged. Humorously, it is on record in parliament. They are still contemplating how to bring. So which means either way your life gets roasted and toasted and made based on somebody else's definition of what success is. And then what happens is you carry this to the next generation. When I asked my parents, they are not there now, I said, why do you want me to do? This is what my parents told, so I obeyed. Why don't you obey? Many colleges, wherever I travel, they take a lot of pride in being very obedient, very disciplined. It is really good in one way. It's also difficult in one way because what happens is you get silhouetted into one way of thinking what life is. For example, if I ask you to take a notebook and visualize yourself 2-3 years from now, whenever you finish the graduation or post-graduation or PhD or whatever, what would I want to be there? Today we are on 20th of August 2024. Let's say that we pick a date in the future. You graduate out of this college somewhere in 2026 or 2027. take a date, and your graduation happens on towards the end of April. And you take, say, 1st May as an example, for example. Take 1st May, put your name on top, take a notebook, and say that on 1st May 2027 or 2026 or whatever year, this is what I would have become in life. How many of you have the guts to do that? How many of you have already done it? In all probability, I find a very, very, very tiny percentage of people who say that, sir, I know where I want to be. Unfortunately, many of us live the life of Mumbaikars. I don't know how anybody from Mumbai, Maharashtra, anybody who has traveled to Mumbai. Mumbai has this famous local suburban train system. Around 7:30, 6:30 in the morning, you go there to any station, you don't have to do anything. They'll push you into a train. They'll push you out in another station, wherever it happens to be, the next. You may not actually get to decide where you want to get off. Many of us live our life in such a way that our life is like getting into a Mumbai train. Morning I wake up, from the food that I need to eat, to the books I need to study, everything else is regulated either by my family or my teachers. What I want to read, what I want to watch, in all probability you do not have control, and hence children become rebels. Silent rebellion. They go hide into a room. They go hide behind a gadget like what I have here in my pocket. Not because you know what you want to do. You just want to rebel. Who are you to tell me how I should lead my life? But you don't know how to express it. Because the only way in which we learn to express is to fight. And that's not a very good way to live, because this world is not about fighting with others. This world is all about your ability to co-create, collaborate, and celebrate your success. Co-create what? Co-create my future along with the support of my parents. My wife is here, and we decided long ago, when our daughter has got recently married, when she was about to come to the 10th standard, we decided that we will let her decide what she wants to do. We will give her a supporting hand. And she was an All India topper in her 10th CBSE board exams. Since all schools were ready to give a red carpet in terms of whatever subject you want to choose, we are ready. And invariably they are pushing her towards either medicine or engineering. In +2, the pure science. She was very clear, and she wanted to join in the same school, and we two went together for the so-called counseling. The principal said that, Sukanya is her name, why don't you take this? She very clearly said, sir, I want to get into commerce. She was very clear in her own way that this is what I want to pursue. Today, she has finished CPA, which is a tougher version of CA from US. She works for one of those top 4 MNCs globally as a senior audit, and she's growing further. The reason is we allowed her to co-create her future by sitting and talking to her. What is that you want to do with your life? When you give that support to children, they don't rebel. They understand that parents are there to help. Is it too late in your life? It's never late. At the age of 20, 30, 40, 50, you can always make a fresh beginning. Go and sit with the people who matter to you the most and say that this is what I have as options in my life. What do you think? Because they have seen life. They paid for your education. They continue to pay for your education. Unlike American system, where once you are a teenager, you are thrown to the dogs, as they say. You go to the street, you make your own living, you earn for yourself. Nobody is going to support you for your education. You have to pay for your college studies from undergrad time. Up to school, max is what they support. Fortunately for us in India, our system is such that many children never outgrow their parents. Till the age of 30, I am getting married, I want money. I am buying a car, I want money. Parents give, because our family system works slightly differently. Why don't you sit with them and talk, co-create? And then collaborate. Collaborate with whom? The world around us has sufficient resources to let you reach where you want to go. All that I am saying right now might sound theoretical till you put it into practice. Put it into practice for about a year. I'll tell you also how to do it. The third is when, on that day when I said 1st of May 2026, 27 or 28, and that success is celebrated, the 3 C's of life, if you really want to know. Co-create, collaborate, celebrate your success. Celebrating success is as important as working towards success. Because many of us either only celebrate all the time, doing nothing, or we are only busy doing the so-called hard work and we don't even have time even to celebrate short victories. In fact, when I specifically interact with students, I tell them, please celebrate victories on a daily basis. Short victory doesn't mean you have to lift a peg and drink. That's not what I'm suggesting. Or take to one of those material which today is freely available pan-world. You can even apparently order through apps, I'm told today, the dark web apps, I'm aware reasonably. There are dark web apps, and don't ask me which app it is. If you're capable of finding, please don't find. If you already have it installed, uninstall it. If you can do all this, imagine what you can do to the future. Now let me give you a practical way to approach this and connect the dots back. Because I don't want to sound only theoretical. Take this date in future. If you have a pen and paper right now, start writing. Otherwise, write it after the end of this session. Put a date where you want to know what is your intermediary station that you want to reach in life. There is no final destination in life. It's not that I am coming to Ooty and I board a train from Chennai, come to Coimbatore, I take a car or the toy train, I'm here, it's done. No. There are no permanent last destination in your life, in anyone's life. This is what I have learned after 41 years in corporate life. There is no final destination. It evolves. As you think you are reaching there, there is something else which happens. So take this date, 1st May 2026, 27. Right there in my life, it might sound outlandish today. It might sound dramatic. It might sound like a huge dream that you think you may not even be able to achieve. It doesn't matter. It's your life. Do not have to even show it to anybody else, because this world is full of people who love to see others failing because they themselves could not achieve it. Oh, what goal you have written here, what dream you have written, nonsense, this won't work. You think you are going to do this? All that skepticism happens. Here and there are 1 or 2 people who will support you. People who really care for you. It could be your teacher, it could be a friend, it could be a mentor that you have in your family, one of your uncle. I have had like that in my school. I still remember 2 teachers who always spoke positively, saying, Prakash, do not take a no from anybody else. We know you are capable. And when they said that, I thought they are giving gyan, and I didn't believe in myself then. And subsequently, whatever they said, I started believing. My respect for them started growing, though both of them today are not alive. Even now I remember their names, I remember their faces very clearly, because they always said, you are capable of doing. Whether they really said it to me only, to everybody else, it doesn't matter. It made me feel better and confident. So pick those people to whom you interact and write something. I want to start an industry, or I want to take a job in this company as in this post, in this salary. Write it. Today, organizations are ready to pay fancy salaries for people who are outstanding. 4 months back, when IIM grads came out of Ahmedabad, there was one person who was picked up at a fresher at 1.85 crores per annum salary. The entire salary many of us won't even make for the entire life. 1.85 crores per annum. Is it possible? Why not? Write it. Whether it happens or not. Let's say that I want to take a job in this pharma company as the head of marketing or head of R&D or head of production, whatever, and say that I want an annual package of 50 lakhs in this post. Write it. Don't need to show to anyone else. Now let me give you take you on a small detour and show you how this can become a reality. How many of you love watching movies? Show of hands. Your parents are not watching, it's not getting recorded, raise your hands, don't worry. Is this a cam that's recording you by any chance? No. Seriously, they're saying no. Okay, in all the movies, invariably the hero wins at the end. Correct? The hero wins at the end. There is one climax. There is some struggle he has to go through. He has to fight the antagonist, as they say. The protagonist is the hero. The antagonist, either the story or the people around you, who are out to finish you from reaching the goal. So you treat yourself as a hero, the way in which, but remember, in a typical movie, the hero does not live his life. You know whose life he lives? The scriptwriter's life, the director's life. The director visualizes how the hero has to be. The scriptwriter gives the dialogue which, whether it's a Shah Rukh Khan or a Rajinikanth or anybody else, they can't speak a dialogue of their choice. You may think, what a lovely punchline. They didn't write, they only acted. Somebody else has to speak. Somebody has to speak through them. Which means many of us today are living our life the way in which the movie heroes are living, because our life today predominantly is a script being lived by somebody else through us. They tell you what you have to do. They tell you what dress to wear. They tell you where you are going to live. They tell you which job you have to take. I am not saying become a rebel. I said become a person who co-creates. On this date, 1st of May 2026, 27, 28, this is what I want to become. Write that as the final end card for this 3-year period. A intermediary destination. I take it, I keep saying it. Okay, now how does a movie director write a story? I work extensively with movie people as well. In one of my professions or one of my buckets that I handle, multiple knowledge services that we do in our company, the name that you see here, Sea Change Consulting. They first write the climax, and from the climax they work backwards. To reach this climax, how do I build a story? And then they work backwards, write the script, write dialogues, write dance scenes, write fight scenes. And then the whole thing culminates. The director sees the end before the movie's first shot is even taken. Likewise, you decide what that climax scene on that given date is going to be. And then start writing backwards. In your life, working backwards really means handling one day at a time. Please bear in mind, this is one of the most important segment of script writing in your life. I can write one day at a time. Rather, I should write one day at a time between now and say, assuming 1st of May 2026, you have about roughly 700 days. Which means you have 700 script sheets in front of you to generate a life which will take you towards the dream of your choice. Okay. On 21st of August 2024, what am I ready to do? Right from morning till evening. As I entered the campus, I saw a famous proverb which was written there. A journey of 1,000 miles is covered one step at a time. How many of you read that? You recall or no? Only 3 people raised their hands. Instead of walking down or looking at somebody else, look at some of those quotations they have written. It immediately when I came in, it connected to the topic that I thought I would share it with you. If I give you a 100-kilo cake and ask you to eat, and assuming you really love cakes, can you eat the full 100-kilo cake in one shot? You eat one bite at a time, whatever bite size it could be. I can live my life at best one day at a time. Taj Mahal was not airdropped like the IPL pitch and put in Agra. It was built over 35 to 40 years. Every day a portion was built. Finally it became what Taj Mahal is. This is true of even the dam that you see near Mysore, which is more than 100 years old. Everything is built brick by brick. Success is built brick by brick, one day at a time. 24 hours is the same for you, same for me, same for Prime Minister of India, same for Adani, same for Ambani, same for Bill Gates, same for Elon Musk, same for the beggar on the road, same for all the people who have failed in their life, which means they haven't used the time that was available to them. If it is your life, if it is your movie, if you want it to be a hit movie, today the league in India, every producer wants to hit is 1,000 crore club. 100 crore club is finished. Everyone has been a 1,000 crore club. If your movie has to be a 1,000 crore club, for example, I am not saying generate 1,000 crores, it's something like, wow, everyone is going to speak. If you take 500 movies, about 2 movies gets into the 1,000 crore club pan-India. Okay, my life, which is my movie, in which I am fully invested. Are you really serious about your life? Do you want success? All of you raise your hands, except two. I even see the face, but anyway, maybe you didn't hear the question then. If you want it, which means you are serious about your life. Bring it down. What is that one thing that I can do today which will take me towards that goal that I have set 2-3 years from now? Even in a T20 match, if the asking rate is 14, you can't hit 14 in each ball. What will they tell you? Score 1-6, score 1-4, take a couple of singles, score 1-2. It's about 14. Okay. Next over, if one of those normal bowlers comes, see if you can hit 2 sixes, bring the run rate down. Life is also like that. How can I keep, it's all about net run rate. For you, bear this word in mind, DRR, daily run rate. If you have not, keep this word in mind, keep asking yourself, if you have peer group here, talk to each other. Have I done my daily run rate towards my goal? If I have not done, tomorrow I have to make it up. If you give a dot ball in an IPL match, the next ball you have to make it up somehow. If you finish your DRR for the day, celebrate at the end of the day, buy yourself an ice cream or go for a walk, listen to some music. Whatever is positive, which is something that will uplift your mood. The day you have not celebrated the day by reaching your DRR, which means you are one step backwards in the 1,000-mile journey. If you do this, periodically sit with someone who cares for you and do a review. We call it a monthly review. Not about your studies. I am not worried about your studies. I know that this college is reasonably a good college. That's what I heard from all those people who have brought me here. They'll ensure you pass through. But will you pass in your life? That's in your hands. It's not in their hands. If I am serious about this life, if my DRR is not done, my run rate will only go up. So am I ready to work towards that? If I'm ready to do that, then I need to know, in the beginning of this talk, I spoke about mind magic. The biggest strength all of us have, other than one day at a time in front of us, is our strength. The most unused strength for almost all human beings is the ability of your mind to channelize that ability towards building your life success. God, fortunately or unfortunately, the way He has given time, He has also given the power of thought on the same scale to every human being. Behavioral science says that in your awakening time, which is about 16, 17 hours in a day, depends on the number of hours you sleep, you have about 60,000 thoughts that you are capable of generating in a normal day, plus or minus. Each of these thought is a seed which can create your future, or it can be a poison which can finish off your future. Very simply put, positive thoughts versus negative thoughts. Positive thought means I have hope for my future, I have self-belief, I have confidence. Negative thoughts typically, there are examples I don't want to get in, but negative thoughts typically means lack of self-belief, fear, self-doubts, things like, oh, can I do it? I am not capable. I am not from a big rich background. Oh, my father is not a very learned man. I can't score marks. You are putting a negative seed into the soil, which is your subconscious, and when it grows back into something that you don't like, don't blame the soil. The soil is capable of giving back to you what you put in. If I put a mango seed and I expect a jackfruit to come, it's not going to happen. I should have planted jackfruit. Likewise, if I want success in life, I need to use these 60,000 thoughts and create my future one thought at a time. Every day, think the kind of thoughts that are going through you. Just become an observer. The techniques I'm going to share will help you in the next 5-10 minutes. If I'm not happy with the thoughts that are passing through me, you have every right, every power to change that at this moment. Assuming I'm going down from Ooty to Chennai by road. After about 1.5 hours, I see Mysore. In all probability, I know I've gone down the wrong road. I've taken Gudalur road instead of going down the Coonoor road and going down. What should I do? Take a U-turn or take a detour, come back into Bangalore and come back, or go this way. Likewise in your life, if you are not happy with the thought that you had till now, you have a choice to stop and take a U-turn. It's never too late. It's never too late in life. Whether you're a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old or a 90-year-old, doesn't matter. I can annul, I can neutralize all the negativities in my life by starting putting positive thoughts. So how do I do it? This is where the ability to channelize your thinking comes in. How do I channelize my thinking? I have never been taught. Fortunately, unfortunately, even today, despite me interacting with so many educational people of repute, ministers, governments, we have been telling them, please, including some school, they have brought it in extracurricular activities. How do we change our ability to think? How do we build self-confidence? How do we learn to communicate to ourselves? Things like that. The only way I can channelize my strength, which is my thought, is to tell my thought how to think. We all think, but nobody has taught us how to think. How to think comes by the practice that I give to my mind to tell it, first, start listening to me. For all of us almost, 99% or more of the world population today, you listen to what the mind tells you because you have given control to it long ago. I need to now take control and say, hey mind your business. I'll tell you what you need to mind about. I'll teach you what to do. If you have looked at science as an example, when you had charcoal in your hand, for example, creating a black spot, you use kerosene to clean it. Both are fossil fuels. Both come from the same source. Likewise, if you are bit by a snake, in all probability the antivenom that you are administered has also been drawn from a snake poison. In Tamil there is a saying, Visham Vishatai Murikum. Likewise, I need to tell my mind that now boss, you are no more the boss. I am the boss. You become a servant and start listening. Takes a bit of a practice. What I am going to share today, whether it was the journaling exercise, writing a dream or doing your DRR, please do it assiduously for next 90 days. Nobody ever judges a gym by going to one day saying, I didn't get a six-pack. Nor do I say I go on day 1, day 30, day 60, day 90. Hey, I paid you whatever you wanted to pay. Why haven't I put a good figure? So you didn't turn up. Just have to turn up. Likewise, whatever exercise I have given till now and what I am going to give now in the next 5-10 minutes, if you start practicing in a very short span of 90 days, please next 90 days, do not compromise on this. Because if you want to see some serious results, it's about your life. Whatever I am sharing is not about my life. Please bear in mind. I am not talking here to make my life better. This is a free session on the house, just for information. And many of you may not even know what I charge for a paid talk. You wouldn't want to know. Yet, why do I do? Because when I see youth, each one of you know about 200, 300, 400 people in your life, and you will get to know more people. And in that process, when you believe in something, specifically youth have this power of going and telling in someone, I listened to this person, I have practiced for 90 days, it worked. It didn't work, drop it and go. You don't lose anything. Neither do I. But if it works, imagine the impact you would have had. This is called the power of cascading, compounding power. Many of you have gone through the pandemic times. How the Wuhan virus reached India in less than 1 week? Cascading. 1 to 10 to 100 to 1000. In no time it became 1 lakh. And then the threshold is crossed. Everyone had to stay inside for almost 4, 5, 6 months. I don't know how many of you have gone through that intensely as we have. I lost some of my friends. I lost some of my friends' friends. I lost some of my relatives. I lost some very close people in the society who are great people who could have, had they lived long enough, would have changed in some way the face of the society. But all that because we thought the power of small is too small and we ignore. If you want to know about the power of small, get into big, learn about stock market investing. If you do it properly, 100 rupees in less than about 2 years can become anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000, even if you play it safely. If you take gambles and get into positions and stuff like that, then it is different. So what is the technique here? I told you get about 60,000 thoughts a day. If you take any successful person, whether he's a cricketer or a businessman or a rich man or a successful politician or a successful academician, they have channeled their thinking to their goal only. They think about cricket, they think about money, they think about their product, they think about their service continuously 24/7. The way a mother thinks about their child all the time. They're only thinking about that, which means they're channelized. How do I channelize? To tell my mind to stay in one single thought sufficiently long enough for me to get sufficient strength on my mind now to turn wherever I want. The mind will follow. All along the mind turns, I follow. This you do by resting your thought on one single thought sufficiently long enough. And that is where heartfulness meditation comes in. It teaches your mind to let you stay. Heartfulness meditation in terms of its output can give you anything of your choice depending upon what you use the thoughts focus to be. But for the sake of practice, we just tell you to focus on your thought by giving a very simple suggestion that the nature, the creation that's present all around us is present in a heart in the form of divine light. It is just a practice. Like when you go through a cricket match, the coach will tell you, how many of you play cricket? At least watch cricket. Okay, good. They will tell you, till the ball gets out of the hand of the bowler. I used to play cricket competitively long ago. Do not look at anything else, just look at the ball. Look at the ball, look at the ball, till it is delivered, till it comes to you. All this happens in a flash of a second, a nanosecond, a microsecond as they call. If you, for a second you take, the ball is either gone, your stump is gone, your LW or whatever. But if you're able to see the ball long enough, cricketers know that the ball's size starts apparently becoming bigger where you see it like a football. If you hear IPL commentary, they'll say, oh, he's playing so well, he can see the cricket ball like a football. Because his focus is so strong, he can look at the ball and the ball looks so large and he can't miss it. Likewise, your thoughts focus now comes to your hand. And typically it takes about 90 days of proper practice. About 40 minutes a day. And this is a service we give free because we want to shape specifically the youth into the future. We sit with this thought that the nature or the creation which is present around me is also present inside my heart in the form of a thought. By that supposition, we focus our mind to look at this supposition long enough. Initially, you might struggle. Initially, your mind will wander. Normally, it tends to. Because you have not taught it how to focus all along. In the process, within a few days, you will start seeing that when you want to focus on a subject of your choice or a lecture of your choice, or you are reading a book, either a fictional book or an academic book, you will be able to focus. Swami Vivekananda apparently developed through the process of meditation his ability to focus, like that movie that he saw in Chitti. He could take a book like this and completely master the contents inside the book. They had done tests with him in USA. They used to give him a book, he will give it back and they open a page, underline, he'll be able to say what is there. I am not asking you to become that extent, though it is technically possible. If you are able to practice it long enough, then what happens? Here you see the topic all-round success, which means whatever I take, whatever I decide to take, I give my 100% first at the level of the thought. There is this famous behavioral quotation which says, what you focus expands. If I see it from a distance, it appears like a dot, but when I see it here, it's into me. Likewise, whether it is success, whether it is sports, whether it is a business, whatever it is, what I focus starts coming towards me faster and faster and faster. Which means if it is success, and if I know what that success is by defining it temporarily, by giving it a date of 1st May 2026 or 27 or whatever, and then build a DRR on a daily basis, daily run rate. One chip today gone, one chip today gone, one chip today gone, done. One step, 1,000 miles. By the time you realize you have crossed so much successfully, temporarily it might look to you as if it looks too much for you. But we have seen enough number of students. We put more than 2 to 3 crore people in India through heartfulness meditation in schools and colleges alone. In many universities, including NCERT. Today is part of the syllabus. In a way, you are lucky enough that you have heard about it today, but you will really be lucky enough when you take control of your thoughts, start focusing on your thoughts sufficiently long enough to master the ability to do that. And with these words, I wish you a grand success. We'll practice how to focus a thought about 15-20 minutes. One of our volunteer will come here and walk you through what is known as a relaxation so that you settle down calmly, your mind and body comes to a state of stillness in about 3 to 4 minutes. After that, about 10-15 minutes. Keep your eyes closed till you hear the word, that's all. And you have taken one of the biggest step, like what Neil Armstrong said when he landed on the moon. One small step for me, but a giant leap for the mankind. Like that, for your own life today, you would have done something that you will thank yourself for the rest of life, provided you go through for 90 days with confidence that it's going to work. When you really have a pass out session on 1st of May 2026 or 27, if you have practiced it till then, in all probability, if I am still around, you are around, call me there, I'll come to you to have a Hall of Fame seminar and a success. Thank you.